It's running, so voters have a lot of choices with who they will rank this Tuesday. I caught up with Carmen Rubio, Mingus Maps, Renee Gonzalez, and Keith Wilson, who told me what they wanted voters to know before they turn in that ballot.
72 hours, and we got ourselves one heck of an important election. It's really about Portland's near-term future.
Election day is just a few days away, and candidates are still hitting the campaign trail, trying to score those last-minute votes.
I hope that voters will look at my record today and see what I have to offer, because it will be a good indicator of the work to come and how I roll up my sleeves and get the job done.
We want Portland to be one of the safest cities in America again, one that's beautiful, healthy, and where seniors and families can walk down the street.
With the mayoral election having several candidates on the ballot, these candidates are trying to distinguish themselves from the rest.
This is truly one of the most important elections that Portland has seen in the last 100 years. If you care about livability, homelessness, public safety, economic recovery, we really need your vote.
This campaign is about our future, and I think if we elect the right mayor at this particular time, we can turn the chapter and really care for all Portlanders.
3 current city commissioners are on the ticket, so I asked them what makes them stand out compared to their colleagues. Here's what they had to say.
Well, I've been the commissioner in charge of half of the city's budget and 95% of the assets. I've consistently produced significant results. You'll also notice that we have more cops out there on the streets. That's because of the advocacy that I've had in place since I've been here.
And I've not backed down from any of the hard fights, including banning outdoor drug use, stopping distribution of tents and tarps while supporting the building of shelter, and finding alternative responses that are improving 911 wait time and are improving ambulance services in the region.
I am the only candidate in this race that has done the most during my time in office to deliver meaningful changes and policies for Portlanders. The other thing is, I'll say I have the most endorsements in this race. That's based on 20 years of relationships and trust, because they know I deliver.
Keith Wilson is one candidate who isn't a current politician, but instead has a career in the trucking industry. He says this shouldn't concern voters.
I'm an outsider, but as far as knowing Portland, I was born and raised here, so I understand Portland through and through. I might be an outsider, but it doesn't mean I lack experience.
And when it comes to where their priorities lie, and if elected as mayor, what's the one big thing that you would do?
Oh, that is really to address the suffering on our streets. That's the first thing we're going to do is address those vulnerable communities, which will allow us to restore public safety.
It has to be addressing our homelessness crisis. You know, this is going to require coordination between the city, the county, and the state.
I'm going to make sure that we get our economy back and vibing again, that we reinvigorate downtown, and that we get more housing, affordable housing for everybody at every income level.
1,000 police officers and making Portland one of the safest cities in America again. Put that at the top of the list.
In Portland, Celine Stevens, KGW News.
And don't forget, you have until 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November the 5th, to drop off your ballot. Well, ballot processing returned to full operations in Clackamas County on Friday. It's after the successful repair of a mail ballot sorter, which slowed down processing for a time. The county clerk and elections office said earlier today the machine, which they first got in 2015, had experienced a sensor failure due to wear and tear. The county did purchase a new machine back in September. It's expected to be up and running by next May. And we will be here for you next Tuesday evening with election night coverage, streaming for free on KGW+. Our anchors David Molko and Laurel Porter will be joined by political analysts to break down the results as we get them for all the key races, both local and national. Our team of reporters will also be spread out across the region covering election night parties. Our coverage starts at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. And remember, you can download the KGW+ app on Roku, Apple TV, or Fire TV. Well, taking a look outside now, we had a short break from the rain this morning, but some heavier showers return this afternoon. Let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri. Joe, how much rain have we seen so far today?
Well, we've seen just about 1/3 of an inch of rain and counting. And if we look at the rainfall amounts, John, we've seen over the last 2 days, it's been pretty wet out there across much of the I-5 corridor, especially down to the central and southern part of the Willamette Valley. Over an inch in both Salem and Eugene, closing in on 2 inches over in Tillamook and in the Portland area. area, we've seen about 1/4 of an inch of rain. And again, we're going to continue to see some rain showers the rest of your Saturday night and early Sunday morning. And across the Pacific Northwest, we definitely have been seeing some measurable amount of rain the first couple of days of November. Well, from our Wells Fargo tower camera, we're looking at a temperature right now of 51 degrees. And again, as we look at the futurecast, we'll see those rain showers start to increase here the next couple of hours. By 10:30, we're starting to see some heavier showers move in over the Salem area. Meanwhile, over in the Oregon Cascades, you're not going to be worrying about the rain showers. It's the snow showers that have been really piling up all day. The last day or so, Timberline Lodge has seen about 5 inches of snow. You've seen a couple of inches here in the last few hours. You're going to be seeing more overnight. And as we go into the next couple of days, it is going to be pretty wet. As we look at the radar, we're continuing to see those scattered showers and those snow showers. Winter weather advisory is in place. And again, we got to remind folks, and I'll do another reminder in my detailed forecast, that daylight saving time ends tonight and we switch to standard. That means an extra hour of sleep, but we're still going to be seeing some groggy people over the next couple of days, I'm sure, even with that extra hour. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show. Well, new tonight, 1 person is dead and 3 others hurt after an apparent head-on crash in Clackamas County. Around 5 Friday evening, deputies were called to South Springwater Road, about half a mile south of Carver. They arrived to find the driver of one car dead and their passenger seriously hurt. The 2 people in the other vehicle were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. At this point, the sheriff's office believes one of the drivers failed to follow a curve in the road. Well, in Southwest Portland, police are searching for whoever shot a woman in the legs. It happened just before 11:30 this morning near Southeast Woodstock Boulevard and 97th Avenue. The victim was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. No one has been arrested at this point. And Portland police are also investigating a stabbing from last night in Northeast Portland. Officers were called shortly after 9 to the area of Northeast Sandy Boulevard and 95th Avenue. There they found a man with multiple stab wounds. He was treated in the hospital and is expected to survive. The suspects had left by the time police arrived. And we continue to follow the police-led search for a suspect who opened fire Halloween night inside the Vancouver Mall. It left 1 person dead and 2 others hurt. Friday night, our Alma McCarty spoke to one of the mall employees who helped families get to safety as the chaos unfolded. And a warning, some of the video you may see here may be disturbing to some viewers.
Before parts of the Vancouver Mall turned into a crime scene. This was the scene Thursday. Dozens of families going store to store, trick-or-treating for candy Halloween night.
We figured it was safer than the neighborhood.
It was honestly quite sad. Just there were so many kids in the mall.
And 16-year-old Bronwyn Cruden was here, working at her family's escape room. The sound of gunfire captured on cameras inside the business.
I see myself hesitate for way longer than I feel I should have, but I immediately locked the door because I've been in this situation before.
That time, she says, they sheltered in place when someone brought a gun to the mall. But Thursday's incident felt more chaotic.
I actually went back up to the front and unlocked the door for people to come in, a family. They had 5 kids with them. Like, one of them, the dad was holding a baby, and one of the kids was just asking, like, what's happening, what's going on? And the mom was like, don't worry about it. Like, we just need to get out. Like, we'll worry about it later.
Cell phone video from the food court shows first responders tending to one of the victims. His crime tape surrounds empty tables. Vancouver police called it a targeted attack, with the suspect wearing a Halloween-type mask, shooting and killing an adult male in this part of the mall. The 2 other men, 30 and 40 years old, who were injured, were not the intended targets, but instead just happened to be nearby.
How terrible, like, that must have been for their kids to watch and see that, and how many kids were at the mall that just, like, that was their first Halloween. They'll be traumatized for, like, the rest of their lives.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Vancouver police are still looking for the gunman and haven't released any more details on the shooter. Meantime, Cruden and her family say they're donating 100% of their proceeds over the next week to the victims and their families. Well, as Boeing machinists wrap up a 50th day on the picket lines, they're preparing to vote on a new contract offer on Monday. This one is backed by union leadership. The new offer involves a 38% wage increase over 4 years. That's 3% higher than the last offer. A $12,000 ratification bonus is also on the table. The deal does fall short of the 40% wage increase the union originally asked for, and it doesn't include restoring pensions.
This is better than our last offer, but I think they can do a little bit better, but we need to get back to work.
If you ask me which way I'm voting, it's obvious. I'm going to reject the vote.
Regardless of what happens on Monday, Boeing says it will move forward with laying off around 17,000 people. The company will send notices out in mid-November. The last day for those workers will be January 17th. Portland City Council is set to discuss a proposal that would end its homeless services agreement with the county. Friday, the Multnomah County Chair released a statement criticizing that idea. Jessica Vega-Peterson said cutting ties would lead to more people on the streets and fewer services in shelters. She also called it bad for the community and believes it would halt the progress seen over the last few months. Commissioners Renee Gonzalez, Mingus Maps, and Dan Ryan asked the city attorney to come up with an ordinance to end the city's contract to fund the Joint Office of Homeless Services. They argued it gives the city little power to make decisions and questioned how the money was being used. The current contract has only been in place since July. Also in the coming week, the Multnomah County Commission will consider a nearly $1 million funding request from the Sheriff's Office. It follows a warning from the Sheriff that area jails are approaching capacity limits. If they hit 95%, inmates will start getting released. In a news conference on Thursday, the Sheriff said they're making room for new arrests.
Yes, we will have capacity and we will be available to support the work of our law enforcement partners.
The sheriff said they're focused on moving inmates from other jurisdictions out of Multnomah County jails. That funding request discussion is set for Thursday.